Do you often wonder why some teams in the NFL seem to crush free agency while the others fall flat? And are the biggest free agent signings the true secret to winning, or are they just a high-risk gamble? Stick around as we give you our take on what makes and breaks these moves.
So what do you think are the answers to these comments? Let us know down in the comment section below. NFL free agency is in full swing. We've got all the biggest moves, surprises, and expert analysis in full detail.
All right, so we got this and more on our show, which starts now.
Before we dive in, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode of Bloodline Sports. So, let's get right into it.
All right, so let's get right into it. So we started with a couple of questions, and in order for us to answer some of these questions, we are going to have to first cover some of the major signings, trades, and biggest moves that have happened in the NFL, and then we'll discuss, are these deals good or are they bad? So why don't we just go ahead and start with that? So why don't we get into the free agent signings, and why don't you start us off with that?
All right. So, Joey Bosa.
Mm-hmm.
You may know him or you may not. He recently signed with the Bills on a 1-year, $12.6 million deal. I think that was pretty interesting. I thought he was going to go join Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
Down there in that depression known as San Francisco. But he did not. Instead, the Bills came in and swooped him from right under the 49ers' hands. So,
yep. Or noses.
Noses, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think that was the right thing to happen. Because
you just didn't want to see him go to the 49ers.
Oh, no. Well, yeah, that. But he also narrowly avoided disaster because, as we know, the 49ers are basically rebuilding. They have collapsed themselves.
Not according to them, but okay.
It looks like it.
That's what they're saying. So,
so in a move that I consider pretty shocking,
okay,
my LA Rams did something.
They did.
All right, and This wasn't just something. This was something monumental. The Los Angeles Rams signed Davante Adams to a 2-year, $46 million contract. I was pretty shocked whenever I saw that. I did not think he would end up in LA after the Jets got rid of him, so I was pretty shocked, pretty happy. Okay. He's a pretty good receiver. I don't think that he's one of the best in the league today, but I think he's got it. He's got what it takes to be Cooper Kupp's replacement. Okay. So, you know what? Speaking of Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp. So Cooper Kupp got cut by your Rams. Once that they signed Davante Adams, it was pretty much written on the wall, and they had already told him that they probably was not going to sign him. They were going to try to trade him, which didn't happen.
No.
So once they signed Davante Adams, it was pretty much a done deal that Cooper was gone.
Oh yeah.
So Cooper Kupp was kind of tinkering with a couple of teams, kind of like this one, where they came out and said, "Hey, the Dallas Cowboys look like they're really making a run for Cooper Kupp," and I was like, "Yeah, let's drink that Kool-Aid, baby. Drink the Uncle Jerry's Kool-Aid." It ain't happening. And it didn't happen. Cooper Kupp ended up going to the team that I told you, watch out, because he's going to end up in the West again, and he's going to go to the Seahawks. And he did just that. He signed a 3-year, $45 million contract to go back to Washington. Now, if most people know, Cooper Kupp went to college in
Washington.
East Washington. And that is his home. So it made perfect sense for Cooper Kupp to go and join the Seahawks. Why does it make perfect sense? Because the Seahawks also went and traded Geno Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Shipped him to the LA Raiders.
Bye-bye.
The Las Vegas Raiders. So he's gone. And then they shocked everybody because they went out and they signed Sam Darnold.
Ooh.
And they gave him a whopping 3-year, $100.5 million. This guy didn't do anything with the Jets. Didn't do anything with the 49ers. He absolutely did nothing with Carolina. And then all of a sudden he goes to Minnesota, blows up in Kevin O'Connell's system. And it becomes this guy who they won, 14 games?
14 games.
14 games. But then he gets to the playoffs and he shrinks. Right? Now, the Vikings could have said, hey, this guy did really good for us. Let's bring him back. But I guarantee you the Vikings said, he had a good season, but he kind of shrunk in the playoffs. So do we really want to go with him, or do we want to stick with J.J. McCarthy? I think J.J. McCarthy, to me, could have probably done a good job as well with the Vikings. We'll see.
I don't know. It's J.J. McCarthy. He obviously didn't play his rookie year. Couldn't play his rookie year.
Yep.
I think it was a pretty stupid decision of the Vikings to let go of Sam Darnold, because while he didn't necessarily do well in the playoffs, I think he's still a good quarterback. He just had a bad day, and it didn't help that he was playing the best team in the NFL. So,
according to you,
yeah, one of the best teams in the league. So, I think he's got what it takes. I just hate the fact that the Viking he had one bad game. And the Vikings got rid of him.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, but in reality, we don't know. We always say this. We'll see what the future entails, right? We'll see what happens. To me, I don't know that I would have signed him to a 3-year, $100.5 million contract. I would have said, hey, okay, we want to sign you, but let's do something a little better. I don't know. Anyway, so now you got Sam Darnold, and now he has a weapon in Cooper Kupp. Now, Cooper Kupp has had a couple of down years since he was a Super Bowl MVP for the Rams. He's had quite a bit of injuries, so he may not be the same guy that you've had. Now, Seattle has let go a few other people, too.
They're also imploding themselves.
And we'll talk about one of the trades that they made in a little bit, but they also let some other people go. I think they let, what was the other wide receiver they let go?
They let go of
Tyler Lockett?
Yep.
They let Tyler Lockett go. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with the Seahawks, but yeah, I mean, they got Sam Darnold and Cooper Kupp. We'll see. All right, so let's move on.
All right. So Milton Williams, a name I have not heard of before, has gone to the Patriots on what is a 4-year, $104 million contract.
Right.
Who is this guy, and how is he good enough to have a $104 million contract?
You said it right. I'd never heard this name until recently. All I know
was he from?
Is that he is a defensive tackle. I'm not sure where he.
Wait, I may actually know him.
Do you?
If he's a defensive tackle, then
Didn't he play with the Eagles?
Yeah, I think he was.
He was part of the Eagles Super Bowl championship, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why. Then that's why he commanded a 4-year, $104 million, coming off that great game that the Eagles defense had in the Super Bowl. So Milton Williams. Now here's the thing: the Eagles have lost a lot of guys.
Yeah,
they've lost a lot of guys, especially on defense. Now everybody's like, "Oh, we'll be okay. The Eagles will be fine. They'll be contending again." I don't know, man. I mean, you lose a lot of people on your defense, it can hurt you. So, all right. So Milton Williams to the Patriots for 104.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in Loserland, Trey Smith is staying with the Kansas City Chiefs on a 1-year, $23.4 million deal. That's just one of those extensions that you got to do. So
this was a no-brainer. I mean, it showed in the Super Bowl how bad their O-line was, and so they had to re-sign this guy. They had to really strengthen that O-line. So this is the first move for them in free agency. They re-signed Trey Smith to make sure that the line kind of stays intact, and they're going to have to shore it up. I mean, I think they've had a couple of people leave. I'm not sure on what all the moves have been so far, but yeah, Trey Smith is staying with the Chiefs. So we'll see what happens with that. But again, I mean, you saw the game. Mahomes was running for his life. That Eagles defense was unrelenting.
Yeah, that was bad. That was even worse than the Super Bowl they lost against Tom Brady.
Yep.
And that game was bad. So, as fun as it was watching them getting destroyed, it got pretty sad once the Eagles put in their second strings at the end of the game.
Yeah.
you knew it was a wraps from there. So yeah, I think this is a smart move by the Chiefs. They need to fix their line.
Yep.
They have to fix their line.
They have to fix their line.
If they want to get another one.
Yep, and this is the first step to doing that.
Yeah.
So also, let's go down to down south.
Oh, okay.
Down in the FLA, Florida. So Chris Godwin is going to stay with the Buccaneers as he was a free agent, and he's going back to them on a 3-year, $66 million deal.
Ooh.
Now, Baker Mayfield kind of had a little bit of a down year last year. They still have their core players there. They also have Mike, what's his name?
Mike Evans.
And now they're getting Chris Godwin back.
Yeah.
So that is a good move for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to make sure that Evans and Godwin are still part of the weapons that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have. And then, so let's go west to LA.
Oh.
Not the Rams, but the Chargers. So the Chargers signed offensive lineman Mekhi Becton to a 2-year, $20 million contract. So, good move? I don't know. We'll see. There's been a lot of other moves. I mean, some resignings. Myles Garrett signed that ridiculous deal where he was crying and saying he wanted to go Super Bowl contender, and he was really just playing the hand. He wanted to get paid more money, and then he comes back, I really wanted to stay with the Browns, from the beginning. No, you didn't, brother. I mean, if you did, you were just playing your hand. You wanted more money. Or you were hoping that they would really actually trade you to a Super Bowl contender and that people would be willing to give up the farm to get you there. That didn't happen. And then the Browns offered you money and you said, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So that was one of the big ones. And then we had some other moves there. The Cowboys signed Ozi Odigizua. I can't ever say his name. And we had other re-signings here and there. The 49ers cut Kyle Jukic or whatever his name is.
Juszczyk. They actually just brought him back.
And they brought him back. So, I mean, it's just everything, all these things are going on. And so, anyways, so some big moves. These are some of the biggest moves that we've seen. Of course, there's other moves there. We're not going to name them all, but so far, these are what we considered some of the biggest moves. Joey Bosa, Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp, Sam Darnold, Milton Williams, and the others. So, all right. That being said, who do you think in the free agents, who overpaid and who got a steal?
The Seahawks definitely overpaid.
Yep.
I will say that for sure.
I agree.
I think Sam Darnold, I think he's still good, but not 100 million plus good. They should have only paid him like 60 to 80 million. So, I think in terms of getting a steal, the Bills definitely got a steal in Joey Bosa. Definitely.
Yep, I agree. Joey Bosa, I mean, he's had some injury issues, but with the way that the Bills, that defensive line that they have, Joey Bosa could really thrive in that, especially if he stays healthy. And the Bills use him correctly and smartly and don't play him every down. I think this 1 year, $12.6 million is going to be a bargain for the Bills if they use Joey Bosa right and they keep him healthy.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So I agree with you. I think the biggest overpay was the Seahawks giving Darnold that 3-year, $145 million contract. I wouldn't have done that. And I do think that the Bills got probably the steal of free agency so far with Joey Bosa. All right. So those are the free agent signings. Now, let's shift our focus to some of the other moves that have been happening, some big surprising moves, which came via trades. All right.
Okay.
So I'm going to start it off. And the first item on trades, we just talked about how the Kansas City Chiefs signed Trey Smith, which was a no-brainer because they had problems in the O-line and they had to really shore those up. So not only did they do that, but then in turn, they made a bonehead move, in my opinion, because they traded Joe Thuney to the Bears. The Chiefs let Joe Thuney, and he's an all-pro guard now. They traded Joe Thuney, the all-pro guard, to Chicago in exchange for a second-round pick and a fourth round next year.
Oh, what are we doing, Kansas City?
That's what I said.
Oh, what are we doing?
You had problems in the Super Bowl because your O-line could not protect Mahomes. You go and you sign Trey Smith, bring him back, but then you turn around and you trade Joe Tooney. Now, Joe Tooney has been in the league for a while. So do the Chiefs feel like he's on the downturn, and are they trying to capitalize on his value right now? I mean, they did get a second round pick for this year, and then they'll get a fourth round in 2026.
Yeah.
I don't know. But the Bears have been busy.
Yeah.
They also made another trade. They got a trade from your team. They traded for Jonah Jackson, who went to them via the Rams for a 2025 third round pick. I don't know much about Jonah Jackson. Do you? You're a Rams fan. You should know who Jonah Jackson is. Apparently, this guy must be pretty good because they gave up a third round pick for him. So I don't know who the guy is. So, but again, the Bears are really getting serious. They are going to protect Caleb Williams. And this year is going to be Caleb Williams' year to either put up or shut up.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right. So that's what's been going on with the Bears. What else we got going on?
So the Steelers did something.
Yeah.
They went out and they got DK Metcalf.
Yep.
From the Seattle Seahawks.
Yep.
They traded the Seahawks traded him to Pittsburgh in exchange for a 2025 first rounder and a 2026 second rounder.
Yep.
So, in terms of rage, the Steelers have the scariest wide receiver duo in the league. Because on one side, you're going to have DK Metcalf, and on the other side, you're going to have George Pickens.
Yeah.
That is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
A huge recipe for disaster.
Here's a question, though. Who's going to throw them the ball?
I don't know.
I don't know because Justin Fields left. He went to the Jets.
Yeah.
And then Russell Wilson, I don't know what's going on with him. I mean, is he still a free agent or I don't know. I have no. So who's going to throw them the ball? But you're right. They did this. To me, this is the biggest trade of the whole free agency period. DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy.
He's a freak.
He is a freak. And you could tell that he was not happy in Seattle because
they suck.
Geno Smith could never really get him the ball.
No.
So, and like you said, they gave up a first round pick this year, and then a second next year. But they also did the next thing. They signed DK Metcalf for 4 years, $132 million. Yowza. Yeah. So he's going to be in Pittsburgh for a while.
Yeah.
George Pickens on one side, DK Metcalf on the other one. Who's going to throw the ball? So we'll see. But if they can get a good quarterback, holy, this will be a scary offense. It will be a scary offense. All right, what else you got?
You do got to remember it's the Pittsburgh Steelers.
It is. But
the 9-win and no more. The 9 wins and none less team every year. So
yeah, but they've been making some moves though.
Yeah.
Right? They've been making some moves. Kind of like the next one. What is the next move that they made?
So the next move they made was they went and got Darius Slay from the Eagles, which don't know why the Eagles got rid of him. Don't know why. He's good. I just don't understand that, but hey, whatever works. So Steelers have been doing a lot of things, offense and defense. So
they're trying to get better.
Yeah. Baltimore could have some actual contention next year.
Yep. They got another weapon on defense that let's see what Lamar Jackson does.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. My voice is just like anyways. So So Lamar Jackson's gonna have a fun time now with that Steelers defense, which he always struggles against, now that Darius Slay is back there.
Yeah.
All right. So one thing that's going to happen also in the AFC South, right? This is the South Division, or is it the which division is the Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens?
North.
The North. Okay. So in the North, you've got the Steelers with the addition of DK Metcalf. They added Darius Slay, right? And then Baltimore is Baltimore. But here's the question in the North as well. Will Trey Hendrickson, will he move away from Cincinnati? Because the rumor is that they have actually put him on the trade block.
Oh.
And a couple of teams that are interested in him, one is the 49ers, but the second team is the surprise team here.
Who?
Because that team is also in the North.
Who?
The Baltimore Ravens.
Ooh.
If the Baltimore Ravens can pull this off, it will drastically improve their team.
Yeah. I think that's gonna be a pretty good move if they can pull that off.
Making fun of me. Oh man, I'm having a bad day, voice wise. So, anyways,
no, that's gonna be crazy if they can pull that off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're already good. But
yeah.
if they can get Trey Hendrickson to come play for them, oh man, that is going to really bolster the 49ers. I'm sorry, the Ravens. Yeah, the 49ers probably want to get him, but I don't know that they will or not.
They won't.
So, anyway, so Trey Hendrickson on the possibility of going to Baltimore. Okay. All right. Now, the two questions that we asked in the beginning is why do some teams seem to always crush it, and why do some teams seem to fall flat? All right. Give me your take on that.
So you get teams. When you get non-sensible teams with non-sensible owners, like the Dallas Cowboys, you're not going to get good results out of it.
No, I agree.
You're going to go down to the clearance aisle, get some guys who you're only going to have for a year, and then ship off to some poverty franchise. So, I think the secret is having a good front office, something the Cowboys clearly do not have. It would help if their owner wasn't Jerry Jones, but we know that won't change for a while. So, when you compare them to other teams with sensible front offices, like for example the Steelers, look at the results you get: DK Metcalf, Darius Slay.
Yep.
All it takes is a front office that has some brain cells.
Yeah, well, you got to have a GM that has some brain cells.
Yeah.
And it's not 80 some odd years old like Jerry Jones is. But you're right. The key to crushing in free agency are the teams that do that is because the teams are always churning.
Yeah.
They're thinking of ways of how can we improve our team? How can we do this? Is there a trade out there that we can make?
Yeah, you also got to find the player that fits your scheme the most.
Exactly. That was going to be my next thing. It's always about, does the player fit your scheme? Prime example, in the last couple of years, Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. The Jets fans, oh my God, we got Aaron Rodgers. We're going to the Super Bowl, baby. Woo!
5-12.
5-12, torn Achilles, didn't do anything. They just cut him.
Yeah. He did not fit the scheme.
He did not. It brings me back to the Cowboys in the 1990s, okay? We had Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, Jay Novacek in the tight end. But on the other side, we had a guy who was really good wide receiver for us. Alvin Harper was a big-time player for the Cowboys, okay? He was a great compliment to Michael Irvin. He had a really good career with the Cowboys and was a big-time player for us. It helped us win all those Super Bowls. So he becomes a free agent, gets big money, goes to Tampa Bay, does nothing. Scheme. You hit it on the nail. Scheme. Does the player fit the scheme? Okay? Does the player fit the scheme? Now, the Eagles, as much as I hate to say it, shout out to you, Gary. You're in your Super Bowl champion Eagles. They seem to always do something. Either they trade or somehow they end up getting.
They know what to do.
Yeah, I mean they got what's his face Brown, AJ Brown for it was ridiculous. And then they sign all these guys, and they're able to work the salary cap, and then the way they draft. I mean, it's good front office with a good GM. Yeah. That's what is the key to the teams who crush it, and the teams that always fall flat, aka the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah,
with Jerry Jones, who wants to save his money, probably to buy another yacht. Who knows?
Yeah, no. Yeah, you gotta have sensible front office. You gotta find your player that fits your scheme. Yeah. Prime example: Minnesota Vikings and Sam Darnold last year.
That was a home run for them. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
and knowing him, he's probably going to do nothing with the Seahawks. Probably.
So, here's a question for you guys out there, and we talked about this. Let us know what you think the answers are to this. But the answer that I want from y'all is this. Does your team have a good front office? Do they have a good GM? Do they steady everything? Do they find players that fit their scheme? Do they do enough to crush it in free agency? And if they don't, give us your take of why you feel like your team falls flat like my Cowboys do.
Yes.
So, anyways.
Yes. I say yes for the LA Rams. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was asking the people out there, not you. You tell me all the time. So
yeah.
All right. So let's move on now. The biggest free agency signings that we've had in the trades and everything. We talked about who we felt like overpaid and who felt like overpaid and got a steal.
Oh.
Okay. Now we've answered the question of why do some teams crush it and why some fall flat.
Yeah.
Now, are the biggest free agent signings, are they the true success key to winning, or are they high-risk gambles? Okay? So, in the free agent signings, who are your winners, and are they just high-risk moves, or are they true success signings?
For the winners, I'm going to have to go with the Seattle Seahawks and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
Seahawks are taking a risk because, to me, the more money you pay, the higher of a risk it is. Right. The bigger the contract, the higher the risk because you never know what could happen.
Right.
Right. So I think the Seahawks, while they did do all right, they're overpaying.
Right.
Just simply overpaying. Meanwhile, the Steelers, I think that'll actually provide some success because while they also did pay a lot, DK Metcalf's a really good wide receiver.
Yep.
Really good. So I think that the Steelers are going to have actual success while the Seahawks, we're going to have to wait and see how that plays out. So, but between the two of them, I would consider the Steelers the better winner. So,
okay. All right. Well, then let me give you the losers. Who do you think I'm going to start with?
Dallas Cowboys.
The Dallas Cowboys. Losers. And here's why. They've been making signings here, there. We've traded for Kyer, whatever his name is. We signed Kenneth Murray. We've brought in Devontae Williams, blah, 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 blah. Clearance aisle signings, like you said. And here's why they're the biggest losers to me. They had a chance to sign Micah Parsons on the cheap. On the cheap. They did the same crap that they did last year and the year before. They waited to sign CeeDee Lamb, okay? And the kid up in Minnesota, the wide receiver, Justin Jefferson signs that ridiculous contract. Now Jerry has to pay CeeDee Lamb more money. They played around with the Dak Prescott thing. Who was it that got the contract, the biggest contract at the time? 200 plus million. Was it Mahomes?
I think.
Or was it after Mahomes? Whoever it was.
It was like Jordan Love.
Yeah, Jordan Love and them. Now they got to overpay Dak. This year, you got a chance to learn from your mistakes. Here comes Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett just set the market for you. Micah Parsons is going to go, I want my money. Do I want to win? Yeah. Do I want to save some money to pay free agents? Yeah. But you're not bringing free agents that are going to make me want to go, okay, I'll give you a discount because I see what you're doing. You bringing in, clearance aisle people. If you're gonna go spend the money in the clearance aisle, pay me my money. And they haven't done that. Jerry, you're gonna overpay again. You're gonna regret it. So that is one of the losers. Also, I will tell you this: if the Bengals let Trey Hendrickson leave, they're going to be losers. In my eyes, if they let Hendrickson leave, they're going to be losers. Okay? Now, to answer the question, are the biggest free agent signings the true secret to the success, or are they a high-risk maneuver? It depends.
Yes,
it depends on the same thing that we talked about with the first question. Why do some teams crush it, and why do some teams fall flat? It's, does the player fit your system? Does your player fit the system? Does the player fit the coaching staff? Does the player fit the culture? That is what will give you the answer to, was this a big-time free agency signing that gave us the secret to winning, or was it just a high-risk maneuver? Biggest high-risk maneuver in the last couple of years? Aaron Rodgers to the Jets.
Yeah.
He did not fit the scheme. He might have come across as a big addition to your team. He didn't fit the scheme. He didn't fit the culture. He did not fit the coaching staff. So that is your answer to both questions right there. Do you have a good front office, a good GM, and does the player fit the scheme? That is your answer to those questions. So if you can answer those questions with those two answers, good front office and GM, and does the player fit the scheme, that is what is going to tell you where your team is at. That is going to tell you where your team is at. So, all right. We talked about the biggest. Let's talk. We talked about the biggest free agent signing, or whoever got the steal, but that was just in free agency. Now, my question to you is this: who got the biggest steal in free agency, either by signing or a trade?
Ooh, I could give this one to a few teams here.
Okay,
I could give it to the Bills for getting Joey Bosa. I could give it to the Steelers for going and getting Darius Slay.
And DK Metcalf.
Yeah, really DK Metcalf too. So I would say between those three. So,
to me, the biggest steal.
Another steal. I would actually consider Devontae Adams to the Rams a steal.
Okay,
I actually consider that a steal.
Okay,
because if he fits the scheme, that works out great.
Yeah,
really great.
Yeah, I think to me the biggest steal of free agency so far is probably DK Metcalf. I think DK Metcalf is a big. Yes, did they give up a first round and a second round? Yes, they did. But DK Metcalf is a great wide receiver, and if you give him a great quarterback to throw him the ball, it's going to work out. Now, next to DK Metcalf, I will say that to me, probably the next biggest steal in free agency has to be the other guy you mentioned, Joey Bosa.
Yeah.
Joey Bosa. I think Joey Bosa still has a lot left in the tank. It's what that franchise is going to do with him. Are they going to use him smartly? Does he fit the scheme? I think he does. But are they going to keep him healthy? And are they going to use him wisely? I think that is probably those two are the biggest free agency steals so far. Which team has dropped the ball? Besides the Cowboys, that is the most obvious one. The Cowboys have dropped the ball. But besides the Cowboys, who has dropped the ball?
What are we defining this as?
Who has made moves that makes you go, really? Really? You need this, and this is what you're doing?
I'm gonna have to give that one to San Francisco then. Besides the Cowboys, San Francisco, because they're imploding themselves. Really.
Okay.
They are destroying themselves from within, going into what looks to be a full rebuild. Because all they have left, the only notable player they really have left is just Brock Purdy and the one on the defensive line, Trent Williams, I think his name is.
Yeah.
That's it. Everyone else is gone.
Yeah.
Deebo Samuel, Commanders.
Yep.
That's the biggest one that left. Deebo Samuel, he's gone.
Yeah.
He's in Washington now, so.
All right. Well, I'll tell you who I think is the other team that has dropped the ball. And
Who?
we talked about them earlier today.
Who?
The Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, yeah.
The Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, but the Chiefs don't really need to do anything, though, besides fix their O-line. That's the thing.
Right, but you're trading guys away. You're not adding anybody.
Sure.
Are you going to do it through the draft?
That's probably
we're looking to get better through the draft. I mean, are they taking the Jerry Jones mindset that they're going to get better through the draft?
Well,
I don't know. So
that's what it's looking like they're going to do.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think that could actually work out for them.
Yeah.
So, I think that strategy works out for anyone besides Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Chiefs, that's another one that I would have to agree with, but yeah.
Yeah. All right, last question. Which free agent should have been the one that got paid more than what they did?
Free agent that should have gotten paid more than what they did?
Yep.
I really think there's zero.
Okay.
I really think the rest of them were properly paid or overpaid. Now, I'll tell you a few that were I'll tell you one that was definitely overpaid. Sam Darnold by the Seahawks.
Yeah, we've said that 2 or 3 times so far. Overpaid. No, I agree with you. I think that the other signings were pretty much in line of where they needed to be. I'm sure we're probably missing a couple of people there, but
I think Milton Williams was a little overpaid, but not too much.
Yeah.
But there wasn't really anyone that was underpaid.
I don't think so. I mean, I think Cooper Kupp might have been a little bit overpaid as well, but I don't think that anybody really got overpaid. So that the question of who should have gotten more, I don't think
there is no answer.
There is no answer to that. So, all right. Well, my friend, that's pretty much all we've got so far for this show today. We've answered the questions of why some teams seem to crush it and why some teams seem to fall flat, and are the biggest free agent signings the secret to winning, or are they a high-risk gamble? We've answered those questions. We've covered a little bit of free agent signings and trades in this year. So, NFL draft coming up. We will be doing a show about that coming up pretty soon.
Are we going to have another one of those hour-long shows?
I don't know what we're going to do. But we're going to do probably a pre-draft show. We'll probably go live when the draft is on. I don't know what we'll do. But we won't know exactly what the answer to this question is going to be. But I'm going to go ahead and ask it anyways. Who are the way too early Super Bowl contenders?
Oh, my goodness. The Super Bowl was a month ago. Los Angeles Rams.
Okay, Los Angeles Rams.
Simple as that. They're the most underrated, the most overlooked, and the most unappreciated team in the NFL.
Yeah.
No one realizes that the Rams are basically the dark horse contender.
Yeah.
Because they were essentially 2 yards away from winning the Super Bowl this past season.
Yeah.
If Sean McVay didn't make a bonehead decision in that moment, we would probably be the reigning, defending, undisputed NFL, WWE, World Series, Super Bowl champions.
All right, calm down. Way too early Super Bowl favorites for me. NFC. I'm going to take a gamble on this one, and I'm going to say it's not the Eagles. I think the Commanders are going to be a Super Bowl favorite for sure.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think the Rams will probably be a favorite. But in the AFC,
the NFC doesn't really have any favorites.
Yeah.
The NFC is pretty weak.
Pretty wide open.
Yeah.
AFC wise, I'm going to bring it down to 2 teams. The Ravens and the Bills.
I think it's just going to be the usual big three.
Yeah.
It's just going to be the usual Kansas City, Baltimore, and Buffalo.
I don't know about Kansas City unless they really come and make some moves. I don't know.
All they got to
just
do
don't know.
is fix their O-line.
Yep. So
That's it.
I don't know. Anyways, so again, look for our future episodes coming up in the future. We're going to be doing a show on pre-draft show on who we think what the draft is going to look like, and then we'll probably do a live while the draft is going. And before we go, we want to give a couple of shout outs to a couple of people who have been really engaged with us lately.
Yes.
We've been doing a few shorts and they've engaged with us. Our good friend Jackson, a shout out to you, my brother.
Yeah.
Keep those comments coming. Keep watching our show. And then the other guy was a guy who gave you a shout out because he's a Rams fan as well. And that is Sal.
Sal, yes.
Yep. So shout out to Sal.
Shout out Sal.
You made the Dasman happy with the Go Rams. Shout out to him. So again, Jackson and Sal, thank you guys for watching in. To all our new subscribers, keep tuning in. Everybody that's watching our shorts, keep those comments coming. Keep clicking. Keep hitting that like, subscribe button, and keep bringing those comments. As always, my friend, this brings us to the end of our show. You are my pride and joy, and I love you. And this is Bloodline Sports.
It's all relative. Goodbye, everyone.